Well, hello and welcome to another Thursday Live. I'm Dr. Jerry Dreesen, the Executive Director here at the Association of PEMF Professionals. And I got to tell you, when your software says it's time to upgrade, you just got to wait, right? So, with that, let's just dive right in. And today's topic, of course, always about PEMF and some things that you can use/utilize in your um, daily walk as a PEMF provider. But we're going to talk about cellular recharge and how PEMF rebuilds energy, resilience, and repair. Kind of an ongoing theme, but I think the more that you know about this and what it can do, and it just becomes a part of what you say when you're telling people about this, the better. So what I want to do is talk a little bit about how PEMF rebuilds energy, resilience, and repair of tissue. And the session, of course, is all about what happens at the cellular level and how once you apply PEMF, whether you're using it on yourself, on your patients, on your clients, and animals. The science that we're going to explore today is going to deepen your confidence, but also refine your protocols too. The cellular energy crisis. What the heck is that? Well, again, our modern life drains cellular energy. More than ever, we wear, rubber-soled shoes. We're inside metal buildings. We are basically removing ourselves from the Earth's natural magnetic field, which is needed to grow. I mean, plants, they're touching the ground. They're getting, they're inside that magnetic field, and we've removed ourselves from it. We're eating a lot of foods and drinks that are, toxic to our metabolism. So one step at a time, what can you do to get rid of this? And also, interesting point, I don't know if you know this, but for example, butter has a very low melting point, so our body can like ingest it and get rid of it pretty good. But a lot of these other oils, especially the older, those of you that grew up in the 80s and 90s, we're eating oils that have a higher boiling point, which means they stay in your body. It's almost impossible to get rid of them unless you put your body in a system of a high temperature. It can begin to melt these things and get rid of them. So again, we've got all these toxic things going on, and our energy system can be depleted. If you can imagine having a good night's sleep, being well rested, eating proper foods, and your body functioning at 100%, it can start to detoxify, but also re-energize. And if you are like some of us where you may not sleep because you're so busy working on stuff, or you're consuming or reading, just classic student syndrome. So when does a student sleep, as far as getting out there and learning stuff? So you begin to have fatigue. But if you go beyond that, then you've got chronic fatigue. It's like no matter what you do, your system can't restart itself. There's no start button. Your system, the choke is set, so you can't change anything because it won't start up. So poor lifestyle choices. Again, I always talk about college student because you're eating ramen, right? As far as being on a budget. So eating good, wholesome, healthy foods is all about keeping your body at its best. But who hasn't had times when you've eaten a bunch of junk? That would be me on Friday nights at the movies, right? So chronic inflammation can show up. Toxins and stress, they all contribute to that. Even injuries will create your system on overtime, because now it has to create all the energy needed to help repair that tissue. So it isn't necessarily lifestyles, but it could be injuries too. And those are the things that we're all about helping people with. So when it's low, everything from tissue repair to immune function and mood is affected. So the mitochondrial connection, and those of you that have been coming to these lives a lot know what we're talking about, these little powerhouses that are inside our cells. And with the electron microscopy that's going on, we're seeing these things happen and what they do in real time. So it's pretty amazing time in science right now as far as being able to see way down inside the body and see these things working out. So PEMF stimulates the mitochondrial membrane and increases improved oxygen utilization. Up to 500% increases the ATP production, as a NASA study in 2003. So the research is showing this, and it's also talking about how PEMF does this. And if you've not experienced PEMF and you're watching these videos wondering what it's all about, find somebody near you and experience this. You'll be amazed at what it can do for you, and especially any areas that you have that are sore or achy. But it improves calcium, sodium, potassium ion exchange, which is really important in a cell. But it also balances the cellular charge and supports the nutrient uptake and waste removal, which is why we recommend that you drink a lot of fluids before and after. Glutathione is a product that's inside a cell. Think of it as I always picture a janitor in the high school with a mop, just kind of cleaning things up, or in the cafeteria, throwing the mop down, grabbing stuff, putting it in the bucket, rinsing it out, squeezing the mop out and going back. That's what glutathione does to cells, is it grabs all of the junk and then pushes it out of the cell so that the body can absorb it, put it through the liver, the kidneys, and get rid of it. When you use PEMF, you turn that system on. It's like 10xing the janitors, and there's just a lot of stuff going on, and also helping glutathione do its job better. So that's all part of what we call cellular respiration and the Krebs cycle, all that awesome science stuff that we learned. So better blood flow, better nutrient delivery, absorption, detoxification, all of that works really well in the PEMF fields that we use. So what the research is showing is that there are key studies, again, NASA with the cellular regeneration. There's a couple of other ones too. And again, on our website, we have on our banner, on our navigation, there's one that says research. It has a limited amount, but those of you that are members, you have the full library of our research to go in and pull these things out, and you can take them and, put them on your pamphlets that you hand out, just like what we're doing right here, where you can list them and give your clients more information, or at least they know now that there's been research done on it, and more of that is coming out. Sometimes it takes 5 to 10 years to be able to publish research. So some things that we're seeing now were started 10 years ago, were started 5 years ago, but it takes that long for it to go through that process and be vetted so that it can be published. So the key studies, NASA's landmark research showed dramatic increase in regeneration from low frequency PEMF, and also showing decreased inflammation, improved blood flow, better antioxidant defenses, and the mechanisms all contribute to a greater energy and repair capacity for all blood creatures, animals, humans, and then also, again, in the plant world, just germinating of seeds. And those of you that are gardeners, I don't know how big of a PEMF mat you could get to cover your garden and germinate your seeds. That would be an interesting study. And then again, resilience equals adaptation, and how PEMF rebuilds or builds resilience. And so it modulates the stress response, and it reduces oxidative stress. Again, those are terms that we use as far as the body's ability to withstand damage or repair from it. And so you can increase the vagal tone, which is the parasympathetics. I don't know if there's probably a lot of things that are out there now where you have these vagal stimulators to help increase your body's ability to relax, decrease cortisone. So the phrenic nerve going down through both sides, that's also the 10th cranial nerve, vagus. So resilience isn't just about surviving illness, it's about the body's ability to bounce back. So PEMF has been shown to modulate the autonomous nervous system, increasing parasympathetic activity. So we have nerves that we can Like we can breathe on our own without thinking about it, but then we can also breathe on purpose. So that's a shared. So it's between um, things that we can do and things that happen autonomically or automatically. There we go. But then also things that happen that we don't have to think about, like your iris expanding, contracting, dilating with light, your heart beating. Those are things that happen on their own. And so it is, PEMF is shown to help with those. And again, balancing out cortisol as far as rhythms and helping people and animals better adapt to daily stressors, which is really what it's all about now. We've got so much stress going on in our world and in our lives. Everybody's riding high on cortisol, and we need to have those dopamine experiences, which is, again, getting your body tuned up will really help out with. So as far as cellular recharge, how fast does it work? And sometimes it can be immediate, and it can be days to weeks on the process. Think of it as far as rebuilding a house. You know, are you putting in a new door, or you whacking off the back end of the house and putting in a 2-story addition? So all of those things take time, but the more people you have and the more supplies you have, the faster that can happen. And again, PEMF is really good with that as far as time. And it's also important to set realistic expectations. I have people coming into my clinic that have whiplash injury. You know, sprains and strains can take anywhere from 10 to 18 weeks to heal. And that's the natural process. In my opinion, and what I've experienced, putting PEMF on that shortens that time. And it depends on the person, depends on their health, what they're eating, you know, how well they're resting. You can whack off a couple of weeks of repair time and then letting it set. And that's the other thing I tell patients. It's just like those of you that have ever built models where you're using glue and you're putting it together, you got to let the glue set before you start playing with it, because if the glue is not set and you start wiggling it, it's going to break. And that's the way our body is too. As soon as you feel good, doesn't mean that you're repaired, that your body is now functioning, but it still has to go through that final repair stage. So the ability to re-injure is at its greatest as soon as you start feeling good. So that's probably the nugget for today, is just because you're feeling good doesn't mean that your body is healed. It just means that the inflammation has decreased a lot and your body's continuing that last phase of healing. And then that's also where dosage planning matters. So, hey, you know, doc, I feel good today. I think we're done. It's like, no, you're feeling good because the inflammatory process is gone, but the repair process is still going on, in which case we need to continue with what we are doing for another X amount of time. And for me, it could be a couple of weeks, another 30 days, or now it's time for the physical therapy part. Now it's time to strengthen it up. You gotta stabilize it. You gotta correct it, and then you got to strengthen it. And if you don't do it in that order, then a re-injury is going to happen. And I believe the same thing with PEMF is you got to make sure you're keeping to your timeline of repair and allowing people to come in and get PEMF even though they don't hurt or they're not stiff. We got to, you know, keep that process going. And I would say stretch it out a couple more weeks to help them out. And then real world applications and what practitioners are seeing. So again, we're seeing a boost in energy for fatigued clients. We're seeing faster post-op recovery. There's less soreness after workouts. One of the stories I like to tell is I was at a powerlifting competition, and after somebody just got done, you know, lifting, they would come and do PEMF, and they're like, wow, I feel like my whole body's been recharged again. My fatigue is gone. And it's like, okay, are we breaking any rules here? Can they go back and lift now, even though that their system's been recharged? And so those are some of the questions we had when we were doing these things back in the day, because the system was recharged. And so they did have an advantage over their competitors. But to me, it was like, what's the difference between that and, you know, whoever can get the best rest before they jump back on? So better sleep. Some people have low-grade mats that they sleep on top of, and they get a better sleep. And then practitioners in the community have reported incredible outcomes, from improved recovery in athletes to faster post-op healing, kind of what we're reiterating here. And you have your own stories too with people that you've used this on and things that you've seen. And again, animals can't speak, but they can definitely show us. There's been a great study done with a broken, mangled hoof that repaired itself, and the horse went from 2 weeks away from being put down to living life, running around in a pasture. So, there are those stories that are out there, and we have them. If you want to grab them and use them, you're more than welcome to. And then again, energy, resilience, repair. Some key takeaways. Again, PEMF boosts ATP and mitochondrial function. If you utter those words to a doctor, their ears are going to perk up. They're like, okay, this person knows what they're talking about, versus like, I don't know, I put it on and people feel good, which is fine. But if you're going to build your practice, then, or your business, having that knowledge is good too. And Leslie, you asked a good question. Let me slide over here so I can show it to everybody else. Where are those stories at? If you are a member, on the member side, we've got some of those. There's also some history of some stories that may not be there, but if you can't find any of those on the membership side, definitely reach out to me and I'll get you in touch with the people that presented those stories so you can get it right from them, which is literally from the horse's mouth. But again, enhances detox, nutrient exchange, builds nervous system balance and tissue repair, and then the timeline varies. So these 4 bullet points alone really sum up what your PEMF experience will be, whether you are using it as a business or using it personally. And it's a whole body recharge system. If there was a way to, the Energizer battery bunny, where you pull out the battery and put in a new one, that's kind of what this is, where it gets into those areas and recharge them. Case in point, I have a shoulder injury back from high school, and occasionally it'll perk itself back up if I'm, throwing a ball around. The next day it's pretty sore, and I'll put the PEMF on. I did that before we talked today, but I had it on my shoulder for 20 minutes, and that overall ache that I'll get has diminished in half. So I'll definitely be on a few more times throughout the week, and I'll use active. So I'll have it on my shoulder and I'll be moving it around with the PEMF on it. So that way all of the different fibers go through that halo of PEMF cloud to get the best out of the usage. And so short and sweet, again, thanks for hanging on. I had a classic upgrade on my computer, so I was a little late jumping on here. But the cellular recharge, that is the theme for today and what it's all about. Now, next week, we won't be doing a live because guess what? We are doing our PEMF Con 2025. So we've got everything lined up. We're ready to go. We're looking forward to having everybody jump on. We've got a lot of people that have already signed up, and the portal is still open. So you can go to PEMFprofessionals.com 2025. Why would you want to go to this? Well, the speakers that are going to be talking, and we've got a few more lined up than what I have on the slide here. But we have people that are professionals in their business. So if you want to hear it from them and then be able to talk with them, again, on our website at the footer, we now have it up on top on the header, so you can go there and click on it and register. And yep, it's happening. So again, November 5th and 6th, and it's 100% virtual. If you do not join, or if you don't buy a ticket, you're not going to be able to see it. So that's the thing. And if you are unable to make it, I believe it will be recorded, but attending live was great. That's a good thing to do. And you can find out all about that when you jump onto the website. Those of you, if you're thinking about joining, you can come to the PEMF Con and use part of that for becoming a member. So you can like double dip. You can be a member and come and be a part of it. So You can join us, PEMFprofessionals.com. If today, like Leslie was talking about, if you have a question or even tips, like if you're using PEMF in a way that we haven't talked about or that you want to share with us, send us your questions and your tips. We're always more than happy to look at that. And if sometimes what I've done on a Thursday live is I've brought that person in and we've done a live interview. So if you know somebody that's got some information and would love to come on and do a live with me on a Thursday, that would be great. Some ways that you could help us out. Again, we're in 17 countries. United States is just one of them. So we are global. So we are the International Association of PEMF Professionals. But we have a blog, we have Facebook. Some of you are watching us live there. Some of you are watching live on YouTube, and some of you are watching live on LinkedIn, but we live cast on those. We have an Instagram. So like and share what we're all about here. And again, I really look forward to next week. We're excited. I'll be presenting on Thursday, and on Wednesday, I'll be in the wings watching what's going on too. So really looking forward to having you be a part of us and our convention that we've got. In the future, we definitely want to make it a live one where everybody goes to it. But for now, I think having it live stream like this is better because everybody can watch and see and not have to travel and be a part of that fiasco that could be going on sometimes. So for now, I will end today's talk. Again, those of you that are watching live, thank you. I really appreciate that. Those of you that are watching the recording, again, thank you for your time today and spending it with us. And we'll see you live next week. So with that, take care.